Let me take you back to Christmas 1998. A Bug's Life and Ants were debating on who ripped off who. The Prince of Egypt, The Thin Red Line, and Jack Frost were wowing the audience in theaters. The WWF, WCW, and ECW were running wild. And yours truly was only 6 years old. And my gaming life consisted of Super Nintendo games. And my big brother received a brand new console.
Whoa!
The Sony PlayStation. And with it, he had a small pile of burned games on CD. Gran Turismo, Twisted Metal, Diablo.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
One game in particular caught my attention.
Hey!
Resident Evil? What's this? I waited patiently for my turn. Yup, it was one of the turning points of my childhood.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you all why. It took me 4 years to beat it.
Subscribe to LVTR.
Look, Chris!
The game opens and, my god, this cutscene. I know it's ridiculous, but it's so memorable.
Why do you want some brownie before you go to bed?
As a kid, I had never seen a video game with a cutscene, and this one had actors in it.
Yeah.
I was hooked instantly. Let's just say, after trying Resident Evil, renting Super Nintendo games was a thing of the past. I picked Jill. Why would you pick Chris? 2 more inventory space, she knows how to play the piano, getting the broken shotgun is optional with her. Easy choice. I found the first zombie, watched the cutscene with
Barry?
saw this poor guy's head getting blown up, explored the house, gave the plants a snack, got the first key, explored some more.
Uh-oh! My heart just stopped! Ah, there it goes.
Fought the snake, then what? So far, every problem encountered in this game could be solved by just trying stuff. For example, I can move the statue? Alright. Oh, there's no railing there? Cool. I got a key? Awesome. Let me try every door till there's one that lets me open it. Then, I got the 3 crests. But there's one missing. Where is it? I had a hunch that it was hidden in this room, the portrait room. The puzzle is quite simple. You have a series of different paintings on the walls which depicts various stages in a person's life, and you have to select them in order from birth to end of life. But there was one problem. As a 6-year-old kid whose native language is
Bonjour!
and not English, I had to read the description of the paintings in order to understand the riddle which gives the solution to the puzzle. But I knew someone who knew English. My big brother! The reality was that he knew English barely more than me, considering he was about 11 years old. But to me, he knew how to read English, and it was enough.
Mom!
He got stuck too, at the exact same spot. I gave up. This game was just too damn advanced for me. But then, during the summer of 1999, my big brother opened one of his birthday gifts. Resident Evil 2 had now entered my life. The cutscenes ditched the actors and introduced monsters in great details instead of first-person view like in the first game. It took place in the Raccoon City Police Department. It had a perfect balance of horror and action, and the puzzles were very easy for now 7-year-old me.
Okay.
They just went all out with this one, and it had so much content. Scenario A and B with both characters, rookie mode, Force Survivor with Hunk and Tofu. I loved every minute of it.
Finished it.
After I was done with Resident Evil 2, I started renting every game that I could find that looked like Resident Evil. Dino Crisis? Check. Silent Hill? Check. And sometimes I would come back to Resident Evil 1, but the result remained the same. We're in the year 2000, and my brother had moved on from survival horror games to a brand new toy, a family computer, and with it, an access to the internet. After months of browsing newgrounds.com and playing Serial Box PC games, I had an idea. Maybe the solution to the painting room is hidden somewhere on the net. After a few minutes of browsing, I got it. I finally had it. The key to the puzzle. I was finally going to be able to see the rest of the game. I picked up the controller, sweating with excitement, and did the game all over until it was time for the portrait room. Okay, let's do this. Yes, the final crest. I finally had it. I put all 4 crests on their spot on the door, and here we go. I'm finally going to see the rest of the game. Okay. What's going on? Remember when I told you that we had burned games? Back then, if you knew somebody who had a computer that could copy CDs, they had a PlayStation CD burning side business. The good thing was that you could have the brand new title for a fraction of the price. The bad news was that the game was not guaranteed to work 100% all the way to the end. You could have a copy that played fine but had audio issues, or it didn't play the cutscenes properly. And we had a copy that stopped at this point in the game. You stupid. It was as if the game was just taunting me. Like, this was it. I guess I was just never meant to beat this game. So I went to the video store and rented one of the new releases. Resident Evil 3. Wow. For a long time, this was my favorite. In this one, you actually explore a good portion of the city. You have a Terminator-like main bad guy always pursuing you in the form of the emotionless, merciless, 7-foot, who knows how many hundreds of pounds, mass of pure your shit up nemesis. It has a great way of providing some fan service by having you briefly re-explore the RPD and having Jill again as the protagonist. The game was more action-oriented and shorter than the second game. It made you go from set piece to set piece at a great pace by having a lot less backtracking than Resident Evil 1 and 2. And sometimes, the game asks of you to make choices. Outside of those where you decide if you fight Nemesis or not, they don't add that much. Most of the time, it makes you take a different path, but that path is maybe an extra room, and then the game puts you back on track. In my opinion, the truest way to experience Resident Evil 3 is by playing it on hard mode. You get less bullets, and the game expects you to craft ammunitions with the new reloading tool. The enemies are tougher, and there are item drops if you fight Nemesis, which is because it creates 2 ways of playing the game. Do you play it safe, managing your bullets and escaping Nemesis, or do you take the challenge and get the loot? And I just have to talk about that intro.
This is Chopper Delta, preparing to drop off at area E95070, over.
It's still one of my favorite video game cutscenes, and I'll even argue that it's the best cutscene of its console generation. Think about it. Console game cutscenes where you had action, fluid camera movements, detailed graphics, and voice acting all at the same time were pretty rare, and I love how the development team brilliantly hides the PlayStation's difficulty at animating mouth movements during the cutscene by showing NPCs with their backs turned when they talk. Or if their mouth moves, it's only to show the last syllables. Amazing stuff. I love the game so much that I received a burned copy for my 8th birthday, which thankfully had no issues. In the 2 years following my discovery of RE3, even more survival horror games popped up on the PlayStation. Some good, but most of them trash. The PS2 was out, I was now 10 years old, and stores were starting to sell PS1 games at a serious discount or trading them. With my allowance, I bought a copy of South Park for $10, which... I came back to that store a few weeks later, and what did I see on the used game shelf? A copy of Resident Evil 1, Director's Cut, the real thing! This was fate. I traded my copy of South Park plus an extra $10, and the game was mine. I put the disc in, redid, once again, the whole game to finally arrive at the point where my game crashed. And... after 4 years, my quest was over. I was in the courtyard of the mansion and I was finally able to see the rest of the game. A giant rush of victory entered my body in a euphoric high. Bring in the Plant 42, the Tyrant, and Wesker's voice acting. I felt unstoppable. Once I finished the game for the first time, I did another run, but with Chris Redfield. I wasn't the 6-year-old kid that was impressed but intimidated by this game anymore. I had conquered Resident Evil. And once every few years, I still marathon these games. They hold a special place in my heart. They, in a way, motivated me to learn English. I wasn't going to wait for a French subtitled version. I needed to know what secrets this mansion holds. The Resident Evil 4 remake is coming out this year, and you can bet that my copy is already pre-ordered. You can also bet the memories that the new game will create will join the others.